In this video, I will be discussing some common red flags for high-level narcissism. Number 1, no empathy whatsoever. This is pretty much the hallmark for narcissism. A narcissist has no empathy for other people. They aren't interested in what any other person is going through, and subsequently, they're not very often a sympathetic person to anybody else's situations. I want you to keep in mind as I talk about these red flags, there are always going to be days where we don't have any empathy. We might not feel like we have a whole lot of sympathy for some people on certain days. We might be selfish, and we might see some of these things about ourselves, but I want to be incredibly clear here. There is a big difference between narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissism runs on a spectrum. We all have days where we don't really care what other people have going on. We might not be as compassionate as we normally are. We're going through something. We all have some levels of narcissism, but it doesn't mean that we have the full-on diagnosable disorder. What we have to look for when we talk about red flags is a pattern of these red flags, a pattern of this behavior. Do they ever seem like they have any empathy? Does it feel like it's genuine? Do they ever have sympathy? Are they selfish every single day, all day long? Do they never seem to take any responsibility? So on and so forth. We have to kind of hold back to see if there is that pattern there. We have to learn how people behave. That's why it's so important to move slowly when we first meet somebody. We haven't had any time to actually see if these patterns develop. Number 2 is the sense of entitlement. A sense of entitlement is always present in narcissistic people. They rely on others to often meet their ridiculous expectations. Most narcs have no idea how to make themselves happy, how to love themselves, how to take care of themselves. And since most don't know how to do this, it almost seems like it's something they can't be bothered with. And when they just can't be bothered with something, it means that somebody else has to now meet their standards and serve them and do all of these things. Everyone just seems to owe somebody narcissistic something. Coverts play the victim in order to get these things done for them, crying sob stories about how they have nothing, they're the victim, they've been mistreated. They might even claim they had it all at one point, but someone or something caused them to lose everything they had, through, of course, no fault of their own. The overt will try to get their grubby little paws on any and everything because they're special, they're different, they're unique. These things are just owed to them, and they deserve to have these things handed to them. It's much more bold, obvious, and brazen, but the coverts play it different. They still all have a strong sense of entitlement. Number 3, they lack self-reflection. Due to a lack of empathy, it's just natural that a highly narcissistic person has basically little to no ability to self-reflect. Having self-reflection would literally be going against the very disorder that they're suffering. If you're self-aware, you notice certain things about yourself. You know why you're happy, why you're mad, why you're upset. You also know why other people are feeling certain emotions. You know how to engage with others properly. You understand that your emotions, that your actions, if they're not correct, they might hurt other people. Narcissists make everything somebody else's fault because they can't handle responsibility. So since it's your fault and not mine, why would I self-reflect? You have made me mad. You've made me sad. You've hurt me. You don't love me. So this is all your fault. Why would I have to change? Why would I have to be self-aware about something that I've done wrong? Everything is your fault. This is the idea that the narcissist holds. Most of them are living lives that are just full of chaos and issues, but that is always somebody else's doing. And they might even tell you that my life would be so much more calm and peaceful because I hate drama if all these people weren't just constantly messing with me. Number 4, no responsibility to be found, which I literally just spoke on in the last point. Taking responsibility causes you to reflect on what you did. Dare I say, you might even owe someone an apology. You might need to fix a mistake that you made, own up to the fact that things didn't go the way they were supposed to, whatever the case may be. None of this will be happening when you're dealing with a narcissist. I want to talk about something that I feel closely connects to this a little bit later on in the video. Number 5, no commitment will ever be found. And this isn't where I tell you that narcissists don't want to get married or be in long-term relationships. Plenty of them do. Plenty of them get married. Maybe even you yourself are married to a person or were married to a person like this. What I talk about when I say no commitment is there's never going to be any loyalty to you or anyone else. They will sell anyone down the river and not think twice about it. As close as you think you might be to this person, they can seemingly backstab anybody and not give a shit about it. I'm sure that we all thought at one time or another that this person would never betray us, never turn their back on us. But we were clearly wrong, as you and I are sitting here right now. They can and will jump ship at any time. Their loyalty is to themselves and themselves alone. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through or what you've gone through in a toxic relationship, you can always email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats with me. Number 6, the staggering level of immaturity. Another huge issue when dealing with someone narcissistic is how they seem to act like maybe an 8-year-old about, well, a lot. This, among other things, can cause your relationship to take on this super creepy parent-child dynamic. You might feel like you have to take care of them, be easy with their feelings, give them what they want. And if you don't please this person, much like a child, you will have to endure some kind of tantrum. Don't give them their way, you will certainly be hearing about it. Even things like a silent treatment, they're still punishing you. They're just not saying anything to you, as opposed to maybe talking out issues and talking out things that are going on. We gave silent treatments and threw tantrums when we were in school. High school, maybe, but I think even most of us grew out of that by the time we were in high school. There is never going to be a sign of a real adult within these people. Number 7, blame shifting. This is where I want to get back to the responsibility bit that I was making a few points ago. There is no responsibility taken. So, of course, blame shifting is how a narcissist will take care of this problem. My personal example from my own experience is when I was confronting the narcissist about cheating. At first, I was told that I was being cheated on because I deserved it, to which I called immediate bullshit because it was. If you want to cheat on someone to hurt them, then you don't hide it. Why would someone discover that you're being unfaithful? Shouldn't you be throwing it up in my face and telling me, haha, I did this to you. I hope this hurts you. I really want this to hurt you. I hope this just makes you feel awful. Yeah, I caught you. So you weren't trying to do anything to hurt me. You were totally hiding it, wanting to have your cake and eat it too. And it is what it is. But the story then quickly changed, as it often does with narcissistic people. It then became, well, I was cheated on, but it was because I didn't spend enough time with this person and they got lonely and they felt like I didn't love them. So I then apologized for having to work all the time, having a long commute, this, that, and the third. I've shared this story 100 times, and it's a classic example of blame shifting. Yeah, I cheated, but it was you. You made me do it. You're too busy for me. You do all these things, and here I am over here alone. If nothing is ever this person's fault, it is a huge red flag alert. I won't even necessarily say that all of these red flags are akin to them having narcissistic personality disorder. But if you know somebody and they're hitting 5, 6, 7, 8 of these red flags, again, we can't diagnose anybody as having narcissistic personality disorder, but it is a sign of toxicity. It is a sign of things that you absolutely do not have to deal with. And I want you to keep that in mind. Whether they're a narcissist or a sociopath or maybe they have a mental illness or something like that, and these things are happening, just because it might not necessarily be full-blown narcissism, it doesn't mean that gives them a pass on their behavior, and it doesn't mean you have to put up with it, because you don't. Number 8, no teamwork. This goes right along with no commitment, the parent-child dynamic side of things. You will be in a friendship by yourself. You will be in a relationship all by your onesie. Work as a team on something? Hell no. You will be expected to do everything. A narcissist will never do anything where they see no benefit in this for themselves, and they will certainly never help you do something that might benefit you. There will be no teamwork. You are alone on an island, and you are there to serve that person. They don't really care what happens to you one way or the other. This is not a team sport for them. Everything is on you. Number 9, minimizing. Minimization is something that I don't feel really gets talked about enough, but it really is one of the key red flags of narcissism and toxicity. Minimizing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, ideas, issues, opinions. All of this happens when you're with somebody highly toxic and typically highly narcissistic. If you maybe tell this person that you're sick, for example, you have a terrible cold, you can't make it over to their house, or you can't do something because you just want to rest, you will more than likely get a very minimizing response. Oh, well, come on, you can't be that sick. I mean, you called me, you're talking, you sound fine. It's not that bad. You seem to be able to go to work today. Now you can't come and see me, or something like, oh, you think you're sick? You should see how sick I am. I have a fever higher than yours. I couldn't do this or couldn't do that. There will be some kind of minimizing how you're feeling. And this is part of that devaluing. I know we can all look back and count up the dozens of times that this has happened. And yet I strongly feel a lot of videos and people who talk about this just kind of lump it in with different forms of manipulation. I mean, it is manipulation. I'm not saying that it isn't. No doubt about it. It's just usually spun around. It has a nice little guilt bomb attached to it. So I want people to really be on the lookout. If someone's always tearing you down, not taking you seriously, brushing things off, and just when you feel minimized, there might seriously be something wrong with this relationship. Number 10, no intimacy and no vulnerability. And this is the one that gets attention quite often, but I still just really want to talk about it. It's just super important. Moments of true intimacy and vulnerability are rare with a narcissist, but you actually might get one every now and then, especially if their feelings overwhelm them. They don't know what to do with their feelings. We all know that they can't control these things. They just emote, and sometimes it just comes all kinds of spilling out. What happens when you get a moment like this is almost an immediate drawback. Perhaps they get emotional about something sentimental, and they cry, and they talk with you about a difficult time in their life. It's rare, but again, it happens. You will see an almost immediate change after this conversation. They will recoil and go dark for a few days, just complete radio silence. They might get mean and nasty and start a fight with you, tell you to get lost. They might do something that looks like they took this wall down, but then it just comes right back up. And I remember seeing this in my relationship. I would walk away going, wow, we really had a moment there. He opened up and shared something, and I feel like maybe we're going to get a little bit closer. Maybe this can take, some kind of, evolution. Maybe we can get on to the next level. And then boom, a big old dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge for 2 to 3 days. A really nasty attitude and a total brush off like I didn't mean anything. And it's as if these people kind of go, uh-oh, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have shared that moment. Shouldn't have gotten vulnerable. This was all just a big bad whoopsie, and whoosh, just the wall comes right back up again. Narcissistic people see these things, vulnerability, intimacy, as weaknesses, which is really sad because opening up and sharing and getting involved, with somebody else, it really requires bravery and strength. I think they lie to themselves to say that it's weakness because they don't want to do it. They stick a little weakness label on there and go, well, that's weak. I'm not going to do that. It justifies essentially them not having to do it. And that really isn't true. It takes a lot of strength to be able to get to that level with a person. And narcs just simply aren't going to do it. So please share in the comments all of the red flags that you know when it comes to spotting a narcissist. Please share the video so that this can reach hopefully as many survivors as possible. Please like the video. It helps get it in front of more eyes and ears here on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe for more content every week on narcissistic abuse awareness, education, and of course, support. Thank you to everyone helping keep my channel going. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.